In the heart of a quiet Nigerian village called Agbaro, life moved at a pace set by the rising and setting of the sun. The village was known for its rich red soil that painted the feet of all who walked its paths and for its towering baobab trees, which stood like sentinels whispering ancient tales to the wind. The people of Agbaro were deeply connected to their land and traditions. Their days were filled with farming, trading, and gathering in the evenings to share stories under the moonlight. But one event would forever change the peaceful rhythm of this village, leaving a story that would be passed down for generations. At the center of this tale was Pastor Chigozie, a man who had arrived in Agbaro 2 years prior. With his charming smile, persuasive words, and a Bible in hand, he quickly won the trust of the villagers. He spoke of salvation, miracles, and the power of faith, drawing large crowds to his small church every Sunday. The villagers admired him, not just for his sermons but also for his acts of kindness. He helped widows, counseled troubled couples, and donated food to those in need. To many, Pastor Chigozie was a blessing sent by God. However, as time went on, whispers began to spread. They started as soft murmurs, barely audible over the rustling leaves, but soon grew louder. Some villagers noticed that Pastor Chigozie's sermons were becoming repetitive, always emphasizing the need to give generously to the church. He claimed it was to build a bigger place of worship, a sanctuary that would attract visitors from far and wide, bringing prosperity to Agbaro. The villagers, trusting him implicitly, donated what little they could. Some gave money, others brought yams, chickens, or palm oil, all in the name of faith. One man, however, was not convinced. Baba Eze, the oldest man in the village, had lived through enough to recognize the signs of deceit. This man speaks well, but his eyes tell a different story, he warned. Few paid attention to his words, dismissing them as the ramblings of an old man stuck in his ways. Yet, Baba Eze kept observing, his sharp eyes noticing details others missed. The turning point came during the village's annual harvest festival. This was a time of joy and thanksgiving, where everyone came together to celebrate the fruits of their labor. As part of the festivities, Pastor Chigozie announced a special prayer session, urging everyone to bring their best offerings to ensure a bountiful harvest in the coming year. The villagers, eager to receive blessings, poured their resources into the church. That evening, the collection was unprecedented. Bags of money, baskets of produce, and livestock filled the church compound. But something strange happened the next morning. Pastor Chigozie was nowhere to be found. His small house, which stood behind the church, was empty. The villagers searched high and low, but he had vanished, taking with him the offerings meant for the church. Shock and disbelief spread like wildfire. How could the man they had trusted betray them so completely? As the days passed, the truth began to unravel. It turned out that Pastor Chigozie was not a man of God but a con artist who had perfected the art of deception. He had moved from village to village, leaving a trail of broken trust and stolen wealth. The villagers of Agbaro felt humiliated and angry. They had been fooled, and their hard-earned resources were gone. The betrayal hit everyone hard, but it was especially painful for Mama Nkechi, a widow who had given her last goat to the church. "That goat was all I had," she lamented. Her tears became a rallying cry for the village. "We must find him and make him pay," the villagers declared. Led by Baba Eze, they organized a search party. News of Pastor Chigozie's deceit spread to neighboring villages, and soon, a network of informants was on the lookout. Weeks later, word came that Pastor Chigozie had been spotted in another village, attempting the same scam. The people of Agbaro wasted no time. A group of men, including Baba Eze, traveled to the village and confronted him. Cornered and outnumbered, Pastor Chigozie confessed to his crimes. He was brought back to Agbaro to face the community he had wronged. The village gathered under the largest baobab tree, a place where important matters were discussed. Pastor Chigozie stood in the center, his head bowed in shame. The elders debated his punishment, but it was Mama Nkechi who spoke up. "Let him work to repay what he stole," she said. "Let him till the land, fetch water, and serve the people he betrayed." Her suggestion was met with approval. Justice, they believed, should restore rather than destroy. For the next year, Pastor Chigozie labored in the fields, carried heavy loads, and performed the humblest tasks. Under the watchful eyes of the villagers, he slowly earned back their trust. By the end of his penance, he was a changed man. The people of Agbaro, too, learned an important lesson about trust and vigilance. But the story didn't end there. Agbaro's experience with Pastor Chigozie became a turning point, sparking deeper conversations about faith, leadership, and responsibility. The elders began to teach the younger generation about the importance of discernment. "Even the sweetest fruit can hide a worm," Baba Eze often said, emphasizing the need to look beyond appearances. The village decided to establish a council to oversee the activities of religious leaders and community representatives. This council, made up of elders and trusted individuals, ensured that no one person could wield unchecked power again. They introduced a system of accountability, where leaders' actions were reviewed regularly, and any misuse of trust was addressed immediately. Meanwhile, Pastor Chigozie, humbled by his experience, decided to stay in Agbaro after completing his penance. He sought to make amends by becoming a teacher, using his gift of speech to educate children and adults alike. He taught them not only about faith but also about ethics, community, and the dangers of greed. Over time, he became an integral part of the village, not as a preacher but as a man who had learned from his mistakes. To delve deeper into this transformative journey, it's crucial to explore the ripple effects that this event had on each corner of the village. Take for instance, the young children who had seen Pastor Chigozie's fall from grace and subsequent redemption. For them, this was not just a story of betrayal but also one of second chances and the power of community accountability. The village elders began incorporating these lessons into their oral traditions, ensuring that the next generation understood the value of honesty and the dangers of blind faith. Baba Eze, now seen as a sage, took it upon himself to mentor the younger men of the village. He taught them how to read subtle cues in people's behavior, emphasizing that wisdom lay in observation and critical thinking. "Always ask questions," he would say. "A man who cannot explain himself clearly often has something to hide." His teachings gave rise to a generation of men and women who were more discerning, who valued truth over eloquence. As for Mama Nkechi, her life took a remarkable turn. The village, moved by her resilience and wisdom during the crisis, rallied around her. They helped her rebuild her life, contributing goats, seeds, and labor to restore her farm. Mama Nkechi, in turn, became a symbol of strength for the village's women. She organized a cooperative for widows, ensuring that no woman in Agbaro would ever feel as vulnerable as she had. Under her leadership, the women's cooperative flourished, becoming a significant part of the village's economy. The council established after the incident also grew in influence, setting a precedent for governance in the village. It was not just a body of oversight but also a source of wisdom and guidance. They implemented a system where every significant decision, whether it was about resources, leadership, or cultural practices, had to go through thorough scrutiny and community input. This new structure fostered a sense of collective ownership among the villagers. Pastor Chigozie's transformation also had an impact beyond Agbaro. Stories of his redemption traveled to neighboring villages, where he was invited to speak about his journey. He shared his experiences candidly, warning others about the corrosive nature of greed and the importance of accountability. His talks became a catalyst for change in these communities, inspiring them to adopt similar counsels and safeguards against exploitation. Agbaro itself became a beacon of hope and resilience. Its annual harvest festival, once marred by betrayal, transformed into a celebration of community strength and shared values. Each year, during the festival, the story of Pastor Chigozie was reenacted in a dramatic play performed by the villagers. It was a powerful reminder of their journey and a tribute to the lessons they had learned. The baobab trees, which had stood witness to these events, seemed to embody the spirit of Agbaro. Their roots grew deeper, and their branches reached higher, as if drawing strength from the land and the people. Under their shade, children played, elders shared stories, and families found solace. These trees became a symbol of the village's enduring spirit. As time went on, the story of Agbaro and Pastor Chigozie became a part of the region's folklore. It was a tale told at gatherings, a lesson included in school curriculums, and a subject of study for scholars interested in community dynamics. The village's resilience and ability to turn a moment of crisis into an opportunity for growth became an inspiration for many. The villagers also began exploring ways to strengthen their economy, ensuring that they were not as vulnerable to external threats. They formed cooperatives for farming and trading, which brought in additional income and strengthened bonds within the community. These initiatives turned Agbaro into a model village, frequently visited by outsiders curious about its innovative approach to communal living. Baba Eze, despite his advanced age, remained the heart of the village's wisdom. He continued to share stories and insights, ensuring that the lessons of the past were never forgotten. His favorite saying, "The roots of a tree grow strongest in a storm," became a mantra for the people of Agbaro, reminding them of their strength and resilience. Meanwhile, Mama Nkechi expanded her cooperative, bringing in women from neighboring villages. Under her guidance, the cooperative diversified its activities, including weaving, soap-making, and pottery. This not only improved the women's livelihoods but also brought a sense of pride and achievement. The cooperative became a hub of activity, drawing attention from government officials and NGOs who wanted to replicate its success. Pastor Chigozie, now fully integrated into the community, became a voice for ethical leadership. His talks often focused on the balance between faith and action, encouraging people to take responsibility for their lives while staying true to their values. He also worked closely with the youth, mentoring them and helping them navigate challenges with integrity. Agbaro's annual harvest festival grew in popularity, attracting visitors from far and wide. It became an opportunity for the villagers to showcase their culture, crafts, and achievements. The reenactment of Pastor Chigozie's story became the highlight of the festival, drawing large crowds who marveled at the village's journey from betrayal to redemption. Over the years, Agbaro continued to thrive. The village's transformation became a symbol of hope and resilience, inspiring countless others to believe in the power of community and the possibility of change. The red soil of Agbaro, rich and enduring, bore testimony to the strength of its people. The baobab trees whispered their stories to the wind, ensuring that the lessons of the past would never be forgotten. And life in Agbaro continued, enriched by its history and hopeful for its future, as the village stood as a testament to the power of unity, accountability, and redemption.